And Margaux Thorne is going to try and join us. She has a release this week as well. But we are talking to Chasity Bowlin, Cerise DeLand, and Mary Lancaster. Ladies, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you for having us. Good to be
We
here.
have a super cute little visitor.
Good to be here. Yes, Nathaniel is sitting in this time.
Yeah, well, it's way cuter than Maeve's cats, and Maeve's cats are pretty cute. So. Well, ladies, it's great to talk to you this week. I'm excited about all the releases we have, but I thought maybe we'd go in order. And the first book this week is Mary Lancaster's brand new book in a brand new series. It's the series is One Night in Blackhaven, and the book is The Captain's Old Love. Can you tell us about this one? We're going back to Blackhaven, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Blackhaven Brides was a series. I think it finished more than 2 years ago now. But people keep talking to me about it, and then my editor suggested that I go back there, and it was actually great fun because it raking up all the old characters and things of people who were never main characters necessarily, but people who were there, lived in the town, or were round about. So it was lovely to go back there, and I thought for the series I would introduce an entirely new family and make it that they're not new to Blackhaven, but they're new to my world of Blackhaven. So the idea is that they lived there as children, and they've all gone about their own lives, and now they've come back, and both their parents are dead, so they're just all the siblings together, and they're a mixture of legitimate and illegitimate siblings, but they're all living together. And the oldest brother is the one who's inherited the house and the land, and he has decided that all his siblings are in a bit of a mess. So is he, actually, but he doesn't really know it. So he's decided they should all live together until they get themselves sorted out. So they all go up there, and then they start becoming involved in the life of the town. And at one particular ball, they all meet their soulmates. So it gets a bit complicated.
So one ball, one event, and
one
then
ball, one night. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
that's why it's called One Night in Blackhaven.
Yep. So it's a bit of a schedule trying to keep track of everybody, where they are and when, but it's fun in its way. So anyway, the first story is about the oldest son, Julius, and he's a retired captain from the Royal Navy, and he's been pretty badly wounded. He's only got one eye, and he's lame and stuff, and he just wants peace and quiet. But his siblings think it's time he just that he shouldn't retire from life just because he's retired from the Navy. So they sort of bully him into going to the ball. So, and there he meets this woman who was his only one true love from 10 years ago. That's the captain's old love. So it's all about how they realize their misunderstandings and see if they can actually trust each other this time. So that's basically what it's all about. And there's smugglers and various bad guys and people trying to get in the way and make life difficult for them, but they have to overcome in the end.
I love a good second chance romance. Those are some of my favorites because you have the intimacy already established to a certain extent, so you can go even deeper in the current story that you're in. So
yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Lovely. And how many of them are there?
There will be 7.
Oh, yay! So we get to spend a lot of time in Blackhaven now.
Yes, me too.
Oh, wonderful. Margaux, thanks for popping in. I'm glad you made it back. Oh, I still can't hear you. The fact that this works at all amazes me, because Mary is on the other side of the world, and Chasity is in Kentucky, and Cerise, you're on the East Coast or the West Coast?
Yeah, no, I'm in Texas.
You're in Texas, and I'm in Virginia. And the fact that we can all get together and talk at all is kind of Jetson stuff, but. So we're gonna let Margaux. And the problem is that I am of an age that the fact that this works amazes me, and I have no technical skill to fix it when it doesn't work. So we're gonna be grateful to Margaux for making the attempt and roll on. So the next book that we have launching this week is Chastity's book, and that is The Lion, the Liar, and the Scandalous Wardrobe. And dude on this cover looks like he knows some stuff.
This is very much it's not really grumpy sunshine. It's more like grumpy and grumpy.
Oh,
They're
fun.
both kind of, I won't say difficult, but they're very obstinate people. So it's Julian, Viscount Cressington, is the hero, and he is living in his family home at the family seat. And his mother is basically trying to force him to get married by redecorating every room in the house as gaudily and tackily as she can. So every time he looks around, he sees something else that's just hideous and atrocious. But and so it is, of course, a Lion's Den novel. So Bessie Dove Lyon plays a significant role in this. And she's actually friends in a very sort of discreet way with his mother. They knew each other when they were young before Bessie became this scandalous widow. Um, so this is a very special match for her. And so the two other girls that show up in this are Poppy and Marigold Granville. They're sisters. Their father has recently remarried. Their stepmother is, to put it kindly, a piece of work. And so she's insisting that he provide an equal amount for the marriage settlements for her two daughters as he is for his own two daughters. So, and of course, he doesn't have anything except what they've been left by their grandfather, their mother's father. So, in order to hang on to their inheritance, they decide to get married before he can do anything about this. So, they seek out the services of Bessie, and then they all wind up at this house party together. And it is, there's a lot of comedy in this one, which is kind of unusual for me. Nathaniel is hanging out with Baby Yoda. You want to show him Baby Yoda?
I love Baby Yoda.
Okay. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, and like I said, they're both kind of stoic and a little dry, and have kind of a snarky sense of humor. Um, but it's a good time.
Oh, it sounds like it. It sounds like it, and I love it when there's a little bit of extra humor in it. So, Grumpy Sunshine is one of my favorites. So I imagine that Grumpy could be even better. So awesome. And what do you have? What do you have next? Since this is a Lion's Den book, and
So the next thing I'm currently working on is it is the next book in the Hellion Club series, which is The Lady Confesses.
oh,
And it is a follow-up to the previous book, A Dangerous Passion, which had featured the Hound of Whitehall. And this book features his trusty Bow Street runner, Mr. Edinger, who is featured in several of the previous.
Oh, great! So we get to see him make. Oh, awesome, awesome! So we get to revisit.
That should be good.
Yeah, I love it when we get to revisit. So, awesome. Well, the other book that we have releasing this week is is Margaux's. Hey, can you say something?
Yeah. Can you?
Hey, we can hear you. Oh, we're talking right now.
All right.
You all are talking. It's Margaux Thorne. It's the Night of the Bleeding Heart. It's the Eglinton Knight series.
Yes, it
Thorne.
is. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Nice to talk to you guys. I wasn't expecting to say anything. So yes, it's the final book in the series, which is kind of exciting. And it is, let's see, you're dealing with an American for the first time from me, which is really fun, from Boston. And he's the hero, and he's, an industrialist. And he finds out that he is the heir to a dukedom over in England, but he's not interested because it's poor and it's got no money, and he'd have to put all of his money basically into it. And, typical American, doesn't know anything about the aristocracy, doesn't care, kind of a thing. But he meets the Duke's daughter, and she gets kind of thrown into the mix of hey, I'll come marry my daughter and everything will be better for you. And he kind of likes that idea because she's beautiful and she's like the jewel of the ton. And, she's just everything a proper wife is supposed to be. And so you have a marriage of convenience, which is my favorite. I love marriages of convenience. I love reading them. So yeah, that's kind of the basis of it. He comes over to England and they just get to know each other. And this book is fun. It's got a lot of like eccentric aristocrats in it because that's always fun to me. And there are a lot of animals.
What kind of animals?
Alpacas are the biggest ones.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because he's a textile merchant, and it's that time period where alpaca fur becomes huge, and they like have the machinery to deal with it. And I love alpacas. I was kind of like looking for a way to weave them into the story, and it kind of just worked out. And there's an alpaca farm right near my house, which is really fun. So, and they do like yoga with alpacas there.
You could go for research.
I did. So I took my kids and we went there. We didn't do yoga, unfortunately, but they did a tour and they were so annoyed because I asked too many questions. They always get annoyed with me about that. My kids, not the people.
I was going to say, that sounds like a kid thing and not like an alpaca farmer.
Yes. So, so we did have research there and, it was just really cool. It's really cool getting to learn about things like that. And because like I like to crochet, I like to kind of do like textile thing, so it was a great learning experience for me. Like I just loved it. So they get married and the whole book is kind of just like how they mesh, and then also like the whole American sensibility of working your way into something and like putting forth the effort and being okay with given something that you didn't earn versus actually having to work for it. So it's like a play on two worlds, obviously. So that's about it.
Cool. Marriage of convenience are so much fun because you get the marriage first and then they're stuck together.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate only one bed and they have to figure out how to find their way with each other after they're already committed.
Yeah. And as a writer, you don't have to like think of like ways to get them in the same room together as much. It's like, they're already in the same house. That's good.
Yeah. I was at a wedding once where the minister said that you don't always get along when you're married, but that what the wedding does is it's like if you're in a field, it puts a fence around the field, and so you have to stay in the field.
Very true.
That's what the marriage of convenience is. It puts a fence around the field, and the characters have to stay in that place, and then you get to play with them while they're in there. So it makes a lot more sense for fiction than it did for real life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like so much fun, and that wraps up the series.
It does. Yep. On to new ones now. But yeah, it was good. It was a good learning experience. It's my first series with Dragonblade, so it was really cool.
Good.
A little bittersweet, but very cool.
Awesome. And then the last book that we have releasing this week is Cerise DeLand's "You Made Me Love You."
Yes.
I'm gonna leave that I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it part.
We all in the song.
Sing it to myself every time I do anything with the title. I sing it to myself, sometimes out loud in my office. And it's book 3 in the Matrimony series.
Yes, I've been singing here too. It's been great. I'm on deadline today for the first book in my next series. So I'm like, who are these people? I left them. Where?
This is the mail order. This is the news ad series.
Yeah, my new series is Scarlet Affairs, which I've just signed the contract with Dragonblade for 16 of them.
Yowza.
Yeah, I'm going to be employed for a long time. But it takes me through the entire Napoleonic Wars. But You Made Me Love You is after the Napoleonic Wars.
Oh.
It's 1816, and my hero, Kendrick Hollands, comes home to Wales after 16 years in India. He has been a British clerk and an assistant to one of the major British civilian employees that worked closely with the Indian, with an Indian Nazir. So he comes home. He's the second son who has inherited, and he comes home to the family house, which is really the eerie house on the hill. And he also comes home to the really very disruptive family. He was sent abroad by his grandfather because, quote, he was the extra boy. And extra boys at the age of 16, 17, 18 were in truth sent to India to be the clerks. Over half of them died of disease and heat.
Oh my goodness.
But they were the means by which Britain gained control over India during the early 1780s, 90s, and then into the Regency period. So he comes home very knowledgeable about the Mughal culture and the Hindu culture, and he is very disparaging of what is becoming a racist view by British of the local Indians. And lo and behold, he comes home with a treasure that was given to him and which he refuses to sell or use for money. And so when he comes home, he is very determined that he will change the views of the British government, because now he will be a lord, a sitting lord, and he's determined that he will talk about what is really happening in India, and he wants a wife who will help him. So he's not interested in love. He's not interested in beauty.
A partner.
He has a sort of wealth which he's not going to spend. He's a very honorable man, and so I needed a very honorable woman. He advertises, and over a period of 2 years, because it takes 6 months to take letters to India and then to bring them back. So over a period of 2 years, he corresponds with the owner of Fleet of Heart Chronicle, which does all these adverts for people who want to find a spouse. And he finds one, but there is trouble at home. The stepmother is, as Chasity said of one of her people, a real piece of work. The stepmother is, and so is the stepmother's daughter, so our hero's stepsister, and then there's a stepbrother. And we have all kinds of old family history, which sadly and miraculously is dug up. We have a murder mystery, which is resolved with a court hearing and an autopsy. I take everybody, oh boy, I had to understand an autopsy.
We get to do the autopsy?
Yes, they did do autopsies. Yes.
But we get to, like, it's in the autopsy's in the book?
Well, it's not described per se, but
I perked right on up there, Cerise.
Yeah, I know. It's like, no. But yeah, it is done, and then there is an inquest, and there are 2 Bow Street runners. Boy, did I do research for this one. And the whole book, in essence, is a Gothic romance. And I have an advanced review. Someone said, and I'm going to loosely quote, with all the problems that we see in this romance, I was at once hooked, intrigued, baffled, blushing, and horrified. So I'm going to quote that
Oh, good.
until the end of time.
Dude, that should be on a pillow. Oh,
That's
I can see
the
it every day.
best review ever.
Yeah, exactly. So
Absolutely.
I thought, okay, can I take that to the bank? Yeah. But but this is the last one in the matrimony series, because at the same time I signed the contract for matrimony, I signed the contract for Scarlet Affairs. And so we had this big discussion, about, well, are we really going to end this? And we're really going to go forward with that? But I was already writing the first one of Scarlet Affairs, which I finished today. So, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that might be an interesting thing to talk about that we haven't talked about before, because we talk about craft and we talk about plotting and pantsing and all of that kind of stuff, and we talk about tropes kind of somewhat endlessly because I love them. But we don't really talk about if they're rituals that you go through when you finish a book or when you finish a series, and that thing, that creative thing that it takes out of you to get to the end.
Yeah.
And then what happens? And Margaux, since your series is ending, and Cerise, your series is ending now, that feeling that's even deeper than it is just when you finish a book, because now it's the world you've created that you're stepping away from, at least for a period of time, unless you go back to Blackhaven, in which case, but what is that like for you? Do any of you have rituals or things that you do, or ways that you take care of yourself so that you don't have to Joan Wilder it out at the end?
I have to completely stop for about a week and clean my mind out. I have to go have a massage, go for a lot of walks, finally vacuum the carpet, and and do all those things. But then, after about 4 or 5 days, wow, I'm back into it, because the norepinephrine needs to be, developed. So I'm back at it again. But yeah, the other thing I have done with matrimony is I am now going to put some of these people into Scarlet Affairs.
Oh, good. So you get to revisit them, and so do we.
Yeah, right. I have a smuggler. I have a guy who is head of a gang in Seven Dials. I've got a guy who's an import exporter. So I'm going to use some of these people again, so that we don't lose track.
Yeah, I like it when there are ways that series tie together too.
Yes,
because it gives you a chance to kind of touch base with the world that's still there.
Yeah.
Mary, what about you? Do you have rituals? You've written about a bajillion books.
I don't think I do. I usually, I suppose I like to have a glass of wine, just to sort of celebrate.
We don't just hold that for when the book finishes, right? That's an ongoing process.
Well, especially big one then for the end of a book.
Yes.
And what is it?
I was just I work on multiple books at the same time, so I don't ever feel like I'm done. There's never any celebration. You just roll one into the next. So
I used to have a girlfriend who would get herself a cake. She get herself a cake, and at first it seems kind of silly, like, because you're getting yourself a cake. But then it was like, well, that's a thing. Like finishing a book, taking it out, putting it out in the world, making yourself that vulnerable enough to share it with anybody else. If that's not cake worthy, what is? Like that's
fair.
Worth doing.
Yeah.
What about you, Margaux? Do you have anything that you do specifically at the end?
Like Cerise, I take a week off and I deep clean my house. And I had to. It's my husband's. He hates this week. He hates it because I have so much nervous energy anyway. And when I don't have a project, I am not fun to be around. I always have to be doing something. Luckily, all the leaves are on the ground, and I've got so much raking to do. Like it would make your head spin. So I've just been raking. I've been raking all week. So when that's done, I'll start something new. But yeah, I'm not good. I'm not good. And it's really therapeutic to I think things out when I'm moving and when I'm so that's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we underestimate that giving your body something to do so your mind can go on about whatever it wants to go on about, and you're not getting in your own way.
Unconsciously, it just lets your mind just go, and you'd be surprised what just pops in there.
Well, and I know that you also do beautiful textiles. You do beautiful Afghans because you've done them in the Dragonblade readers group before, so we've gotten to see them.
I'm giving some away for the giveaway for sure. But I've been doing so much that I think I've been going to the chiropractor. And he's like,
crocheters and that would be terrible.
So bad. And he's like, will you just stop? And I go, Christmas is coming up. I've got gifts I need to do. And he's like, no, just stop. So so that's another reason why I'm crazy right now. I can't do anything. So I'll start writing a book.
Do you know what you want to work on next?
Yeah, I've got my cricket series starting. So I just finished the first book of the cricket series. And then
cricket, like the sport cricket?
Like the sport cricket. Yeah. So it's an all.
It took me a minute. I was like Jiminy Cricket, and there were little bugs in my head. No, that's not what she means. She means cricket, like cricket. Yeah. We're going to play with bats and stuff. So.
Yeah. So I'm trying to make hockey books, like the hockey books super popular. I'm like, I'm going to try to do cricket and all women's cricket teams. So we'll see how that goes. I like it. I think it's fun. So we'll see what happens.
I want to do a rugby series because I am totally in love with rugby now. It's never got into football, but rugby is just wow.
I don't know the rules. You don't need to know the rules. Just look at them play rugby. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And then when they bend over and hold on to each other and scooch the ball out the back, it's just so much fun.
Oh yeah. Scrum.
Yeah, scrum. That would be the word for hold on to each other and scooch the ball out the back.
Only word I know. Only one I know.
So Mary, we already know that we have a big long series for you and Chasity. We talked about what's coming up next for you, and Cerise, we've got another big long series from you. Do any of you have anything coming up between now and Christmas that you'd like to talk about? Anything special?
Oh, the cookbook.
That's right. I knew there was in my head while I'm saying that line out loud, I'm thinking to myself, there's an anthology, and I was not pulling it, but it's the cookbook.
Yes.
Do you have a recipe?
Yes. I have my great aunt's Yorkshire shortbread.
Oh, yum!
Yes.
Oh, I love shortbread.
Yeah, me too. And this is a recipe that my great aunt brought over. She was 5 years old when she came, and she came with her older sister. The story is in the cookbook with the recipe. It's it's one of the things that we do. My mother used to do Yorkshire pudding, but my mother was not a great cook, and she set 2 kitchen cabinets on fire. So she did make this. There was no frying involved. My mother knew only how to fry, and so this is a nice little recipe that works easily for people who don't cook and have kids who like cookies.
I love shortbread. I made shortbread to give as a hostess gift once because I was going over to a girlfriend's house when I was just out of college, and it kept not setting. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I made it 3 times and it kept not setting it. And it turns out I had gotten the powdered sugar and the flour confused.
Oh.
And so what I was really making was foamy, buttery mess.
Awesome.
Does anybody else have a recipe in the cookbook?
Yeah, I put in a traditional Appalachian recipe, which is for an apple stack cake, which that was always something we had at every holiday. And it's just usually about a 6-7 layer cake. And it's really thin layers of spice cake with cooked apples between each layer.
Oh, that sounds
nice.
fantastic.
Is it like a cream cheese frosting or is it like a
No,
normal?
there's no frosting, just the apples.
Really?
Oh,
That sounds,
that sounds wonderful.
Okay.
that's really
So-
cool.
But yeah, it's I was really lucky. I grew up with 4 of my great aunts still around.
Mhm.
And it was one of their recipes, and it's just been passed down. So
Awesome.
My grandma had a bunch of childless sisters, and it was just it was the best thing ever. It was like having extra grandmas everywhere.
yes,
It was the
yes.
greatest thing. Yeah.
So
Mary Margaret, do you have a recipe in the cookbook?
No.
No, but we're going to get it so we can make the apple stack cake.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
And I might like marshal the energy to try shortbread again. I haven't done it since, but I do love it. So,
So delicious.
and it's been like 20 some, well, probably 30 years now. It's been a long time, so I should probably give it a try. But, well, that comes out. That comes out in November, and I'll make sure I put the link to everything, including the cookbook,
Yes.
in the chat so that you can get it. I'm going to say the same thing that I say every week because it's as true this week as it is all the weeks. Dragonblade books are their very best deal on pre-order and release. You want to grab them right away. And if you don't have a chance to get them, you can always read them Kindle Unlimited. Then you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
So. Ladies, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. I really appreciate it. And thanks for letting us have the little visiting buddy this week.
do you want to tell everybody bye? Say bye.
Bye.
No. Today.
We're gonna take the scowl as a bye and move on with our days. Thanks, ladies.
Bye.
See you next
Bye bye. See everybody.
Bye.